To start, good morning. Good morning. Let's see. Okay. All right. Good morning. Welcome to the daily money markets. You are actually, with me, the host. It's Yusuf. We come back again. Today is the biggest day. It's on Monday. We want to share in terms of the news latest, the biggest news that are actually happening and that are going to happen, for this week. The most important thing about this is that you're gonna have at least something to look up to, for the whole for the whole entire week. So that's the most important part about it. So, and the news that we are actually trying to share at particular time, they are high impact volatility news that you can get in the markets and be able to actually, trade and see the results out of the trade. So what do we do every Monday? I'm giving you the full news about the whole week, what we can look after up to, and then on Friday we recap and see how the news, how that actually impacted your trading. So without actually wasting more time, today is Monday. There's actually a couple of news that are actually happening in the markets today, and definitely if you are looking at this type of instrument, you will see the volatility, and you might find the opportunity for you to enter in the market and trade. I always say trading. It's about the volatility. You can't just trade while there's no type of a movement. The market is flat, then you are wasting your time. But mostly trade when there's actually movement of the market. So that's what basically we're trying to share at this particular time. So on Monday, we are looking at the news that is coming from Europe. It's consumer confidence. It's on Monday, and again, there's also a little bit of slow down today in terms of the Canadian dollar. So, in terms of Canadian dollar, there's a bank holiday in Canada. So, most of the people that are actually focusing on the Canadian dollar, you're not going to see high much volatility because of there's a holiday, in Canada. But when it comes to Europe, there is consumer confidence that is actually being released today around 4 p.m. Around 4 p.m. So mostly here and the Europeans, we do have quite similar in terms of the time zone. So around 4 p.m. we're gonna have a higher impact volatility in the euro instrument. So if you go look into Euro USD, or you're going to look into Euro stocks, or maybe even to touch German 30, you might find also it has a higher impact because of it's in a Euro zone. So that's happening today around 4 p.m. It's a financial confidence is a leading indicator of consumer spending, which accounts for majority of overall economic activities. So definitely it will touch on Europe. This is what you should be looking at today. And again, later on, you will see the New York session open. There will be also high impact of volatility when it comes to New York stocks and the US instrument as well. Tomorrow, which is Tuesday, around 9:15 a.m. Again, we're having the euro news. It's actually released by S&P Global listed. They're the ones that are going to release this news. It's called the French Flash Manufacturing. So definitely, it's from France. It's actually a leading indicator of economy. Healthy business reacted quickly to market condition, and their purchasing manager hold perhaps the most current and relevant insight into the company view of economy. Again, we are looking also into the euro instrument. So the instrument to have a high impact, we can keep an eye on the euro USD. We can keep an eye on euro GDP. We can keep an eye on German 30. We can keep an eye also on all euro instrument that are actually quoted with the euro. Those are instruments that we can trade from today and again tomorrow. So these are besides, if you do have already instrument that you already analyzed and you want to trade that type of instrument, it's fine. But here's another option that if you don't have, you can actually be able to go and look into this type of instrument and see the volatility and be able to trade. So tomorrow, 9:15, that's where we are having the French flash manufacturing. It's actually happening tomorrow. There's a couple of news in terms of the euro. So the euros, they're going to have high impact of volatility from today all the way to tomorrow. Because I'm seeing here as well another news from Europe as well. The leading indicator of the economy, health and business. Okay, it's the same French flash manufacturing. And then later on Wednesday, that's where we're going to see the NZD, the New Zealand dollar. So on Wednesday, you can be able to expect the New Zealand dollar to have a higher impact of volatility on Wednesday because of this a monetary policy statement. So there will be a monetary policy statement being released from New Zealand, and this monetary policy statement, it provides a valuable insight into banks' view of economic conditions and inflation, and again the key factor that will shape the future of monetary policy and influence their interest rate decision. So definitely this is the key part of inflation that the monetary policy release, so that they can actually know how much the interest rate is going to be increased at the following month. So New Zealand dollar is going to have a high impact of volatility, which is on Wednesday. I'm not saying you cannot trade it today. You can trade it today. You can trade it tomorrow. But the high impact of the news are based on the New Zealand dollar. It will be on Wednesday, which is the monetary policy statement that is coming on Wednesday. What else are we looking on Wednesday? So another a big news that we're looking on Wednesday, we're looking at the Bank of England. The BOE Bank of England Governor Andrew Bell is actually having a speak as the head of the central bank, which controls the short-term interest rates, and he has also more influence over the national currency value than any other Persian traders, structure his public engagement, as they are often used to quote regarding the future drop of substantial. So they're actually the governor of Bank of England, Andrew Bell, is going to have a meeting, and most of the time when these guys they're having an announcement or they're having a meeting, we highly see the high impact of volatility in the market. Now, a lot of people they always get worried why we saw high impact of the markets during that time. So most of the time during that time, right, the investors, some of the investors, they'll pull out their money from whatever instrument that are actually participating in or whatever company. Some they actually put money into the certain instrument or into the certain company that they want to participate in. What does that benefit us? It benefits because of now there's a lot of movement in the market. Now we are seeing the move of high liquidity, people putting into the instrument. We see the instrument moving up. The low liquidity instrument, we saw again the same thing, the instrument dropping from that. So it's very, very important as a trader to not miss this type of events, to not miss this type of big news, because it has a high impact of volatility and it can be able to help us in terms of the return that we can get from the market. So that will be when that was on Wednesday. Let's see if we still have more high impact news that are happening on Wednesday. Okay. All right. Another news, I think the high impact is going to be on Thursday. It will be May the 25th. May the 25th, we are having the FOREX meeting minutes. The FOREX meeting minutes that is happening on Thursday. And again, these are also time whereby whenever there's a new FOREX release, or when they format they're having the meeting, we'll also see the high impact of news, the high impact of volatility in the instrument. So this is the US instrument, the US format. So we're going to expect stocks like Nasdaq, US 30, Euro USD, US index to have a really, really high impact volatility on Thursday, right? And which is, so that means from Thursday, from Wednesday to Thursday, that's where we are seeing a high impact of news coming in, because we're seeing the Bank of England on Wednesday coming up with speaks. Later on, also we're seeing the format meeting minutes on the US coming up also with a speech, and then that translate goes to Thursday where we are seeing unemployment claims, right, from US as well. So from Wednesday, Thursday, we are building up the momentum of volatility of US dollar, US stocks. We can look into gold as well, because of it's the safe haven of the dollar, that we going to see also the high impact of volatility. Lastly, on Friday, which is the last day of this week, we are going to see also the last news that have a high impact. Remember, there's a lot of news that you're going to see on all these days. So, for example, Friday, you can see there's news from Tokyo, there's retail sales news from Australia, there's retail sale news from Great British Pound, that affect the British pound. But the high impact that brings a high volatility, it will be called PCE price index. So it will be called PCE price index. That will actually happening on Friday. It will be around 2:30 p.m. United States time zone, 2:30 p.m. This is actually one of the instruments that actually gives the change in the price of goods, services purchased by the consumer, excluding the food and energy. That why we should traders maybe care about this news is because of its Federal Reserve primary inflation measures. So the inflation is important to currency value because it rises the prices, lead the central bank to rise the interest rate out of the respect of their inflation containment mandate. So it is important. It's a leading indicator to the interest rate, which is very, very important when it comes to the forex market. So those are the biggest news, or the biggest high volatility instant news that is going to happen in this week. I do have personally these newsletters. Whenever you do need the newsletter, you can be able to to communicate with me, and then I can be able to at least send you the newsletter so that you can have it and you can be able to look on every day and to see which other news that actually impacted the market. So yeah, on that note, I would like to jump in just to see few stuff that are actually happening here in Africa. As I always say, that I would like to to add the Africa report in terms of the global market, right? Just to see what's going on in terms of the market here in Africa. We saw I think last week to last of last week, Zimbabwe was one of the major countries coming with the big news in terms of gold. IMF approves that they can be able to back up, their currency with gold. Last week, that's where we saw a biggest news. Zimbabwe has announced the coin that you can buy that coin from Zim Reserve Bank and actually owning a gold itself. So there's a lot of news that are impacting, Africa market, and which is why I think also it's very important to be able to look into it. So the role with the US that wrecked the rand puts South Africa IMF betting record at the risk. So South Africa right now, if you look at the rand to a dollar, it's sitting at 19 rand 30, 19 rand 40, fluctuating all the way to 19 rand 50, which is very, very high. It's high, passing a lot of years that has been reaching to that level. If it get to 20, it's crazy. It's crazy. So International Monetary Fund has actually put in a betting record at a risk, that our betting record, they're sitting at the risk at the moment. We need to, fix a little bit, a few things. Ramaphosa has to fix a little bit of few things so that our economy can grow. So not only that, the major also, news that is coming on Africa, it's Sudan. We've been seeing a lot of violence in Sudan. So Sudan wearing sides agreed to cease fire in the U.S. Saudi diplomacy. So this is about the war that is happening in Sudan. They're actually having a plan to cease fire so that people can be able to move to a different area that is a little bit much more safer than the area that they are at the moment. Again, the IMF funding deal sealed economists split on Ghana's red coal. Right, so this is again another news coming in Ghana, that International Monetary Fund has actually seized. Okay, let me just quickly, has actually 7 economics impact the MPC to hold the 4 predict and the hike. So the IMF says the MPC will tighten until the inflation firmly on a downswing. So right now the inflation of Ghana again is going higher and higher. So we can see each and every countries here in Africa, they are actually having a struggle. It's not only one country, different types of countries, they're having a different types of issues, when it comes to, Africa economy. So we hope for the better days, but thank you very much for tuning in at the Daily Money Market. Keep watching, keep subscribing. It's very, very important, to keep engaging and to keep communicating, regarding the global market. So yeah, let's keep watching. Subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe.